Hello, welcome to my shoebox sized shed, which is a work in progress at the minute, and got a bit of a leak in the roof, so things are a bit wet and cramped in here. Started off being a lovely day today, and then just as I thought, oh, go out for a walk, it started pissing with rain. Now the sun's come out again, but I don't trust it, so I'm going to stay in the shed. This is a pole trimmer, a Makita one. Not sure of the model number, I'll have to look it up and put it up later, but had a bit of a accidento there. We hold it up here. I was doing some radical hedge trimming last week, and the blades caught on a branch high up because it's quite a high hedge, which is why I was using this. And when I was kind of pulling it to try and retrieve it, it snapped here. First impressions are, I'm not very impressed with this. Just look how much overlap you've got here of the metal bit. So it snapped just on the edge of that, so I'm just going to have to glue it today. It's not one of my favourite Makita tools, this. I've got quite a few issues with it. I can't even fit it all in the view because it's so long, but there's the rest of it there. So it's quite handy for getting high hedges and things trimmed when you either can't get a ladder up to them or you don't want to put a ladder up, and it's actually quite good at sighting down the edges of hedges with the length of it. It does have problems, because all hedge trimmers eventually they'll catch on whatever you're trimming. You know, if you get a bit of a thicker twig or something, and you can usually twizzle them about and free them up, or pull the hedge or pull the twig or the branch out of the clippers. But with this, obviously, because it's extended up, you can't actually reach the head of it when it catches. And usually you give it a bit of a haul and it'll come free, but as I said last week, I gave it a bit of a haul, and instead of coming free, well, it did come free, but it also snapped the handle here. So I'm going to have to glue this back together again. I'm not sure if that would be covered under Makita's warranty, but Mazda actually bought this, and Mazda being Mazda didn't register online for the extended warranty, so it's out of the normal 12-month warranty now anyway. But on the plus side, if I can manoeuvre into the corner here, on the plus side, it's still actually working, so it's just the casing snapped. So I'm going to have to try and glue this together and hope that there's enough strength in it. Something I'm slightly dubious about, but yeah, I'll just have to be careful in future, because I actually only got about 2/3 of the way through the job I was doing when it broke, so I've had to leave a hedge partially snipped and partially not snipped. So let's get this apart and see whether we can glue it together. Well, I know we can glue it together, but also see whether it's going to hold or not. So I'll just reposition you somewhere a bit more closer. You'll have to excuse the reflections here on this bench, because we've got sun above the skylight at the minute. So let's see what's in here. Drifted you out of shot a bit there, didn't we? Hang on. There we go. Right. So, cracked on both sides, unfortunately. This is going to mean 2 bits needing gluing. I think at least the plastic is all present and correct. We've not lost any, which is good. So we'll just have to see how it goes. I don't know if there's any room for reinforcement in there. Right. Let's make up some glue. Right, I've nicked a couple of Maz's plant label marker thingies. So I can make a stirry machine from these. Yeah, it's a pretty clean break, which is good. I'm pretty unimpressed with the plastic on this, so I've got I'm not sure what the technical terms are for it, but I know some of my other Makita tools are made of a kind of plastic that you think would bend a lot before it broke, but this seems like the quite hard, brittle stuff that's obviously just snapped. Hope this will be enough. I'm either too stingy with my glue when I mix it or too profligate. I think too much. That's okay. I'm not too bothered about overdoing this a bit, making it a wee bit messy. If it fixes it, I can always give it a scrape down and a tidy up afterwards when it's dry. You hear that wind out there? It's like it's trying to be a nice day, but then the wind picks up, and then, like I said before, I was heading out for a walk. Went upstairs, had a wee, came down to put my boots on, and it was absolutely lashing it down. That's how quick it can change around these parts. That's the end of today's weather report. Feel free to make notes if you want. I've got a feeling all of this is going to be out of focus because I only brought my wee mini tripod out with me, which isn't very tall, but it'll probably be speeded up anyway, because who wants to watch some boring old fart on the internet putting glue on a piece of plastic? Well, if it wasn't me, probably thousands of people, but seeing as it's me, nobody. I guess I'm just not that interesting. Can't understand why. I find myself completely fascinating. Right, I shall leave them for a few minutes to get tacky, and then we'll assemble and see what happens. While I'm leaving them to tack up. Let's put them in the centre, because this is even better than a video of watching paint dry. You can watch glue tack. Right, that seems to be tacking up a bit now, so could probably leave it a bit longer, but let's get on with this. I think they should hopefully stay together quite well anyway, because it's not like they're too awkward a shape. It's actually trying to spring apart a bit, but should be okay. It's probably twisted very slightly before it snapped. But as I say, it seemed to be quite brittle plastic, so it doesn't look to have had much flex in it before it went. I might just put a bit more on the inside here while I've got a bit of spare. By the way, that creaky noise was my boot rubbing against a plastic box on the floor. Not what you thought it was, you dirty-minded individuals. See, now that I've come to put a bit on the inside as well, I'm wishing I'd actually mixed up more glue, whereas before I thought I'd done too much. But it's all belt and braces anyway. Right, that'll do for that one. Let's put a bit more tape on the top end here. One done. Next, this one's a bit trickier because it's not lying flat on the desk, but I'm sure we can cope. He said cocking it up at the early stage. Go on, get in position. Yeah, this one's going to be a bit more awkward. In fact, let me abandon that plan for now. It's better to do it from this side. It's because it's got these raised bits here, so it won't lie flat for ease of assemblage. There he goes farting again. It's me boot. get another wee scrape out of this. I don't think I've got much left. I could be not a lazy bugger and mix some more up, but I think this will probably do it. It's either going to hold or it's not. I don't think this is going to make any difference. I also don't want to build it up too much on the inside in case this kind of sits in here, so if I build it up too much it won't want to go together properly. And then where will we be? Shit, where? That's where. Right, that's it for now. We'll leave them to go off overnight and then we'll return to this tomorrow and put it back together. And then, in a vain attempt to make this not be the most boring video in the history of YouTube, I might stick on a mini review of this tool at the end, because as I say, I have a few issues with it, or a few annoyances, quite apart from the fact I broke the bugger. But yeah, that's it for now, so we shall return. Right, here we are the next day, by the miracles of modern technology, and we're going to stick this back together again, if we can remember where all the bits go. But before that, as a brief interlude, just been to the car boot sale in Hexham this morning and scored treasure a 10-inch, I think, whatever that is in centimetres, record branded Stilson wrench for £2, and even more exciting, a Kent pattern axe, 2.5 pound Stanyforth Sever Quick. So that's quite nice. That was a £5. So that's my treasure for the day. That will not need much doing with, just a bit of a clean and polish. The axe is obviously blunt as fook, but and a bit mushroomed on the end there. And I don't think that's the original handle, because there, I don't know if you can see, but there's a gap there you can get your finger in. It feels solid enough, but I'll probably put a new handle on it. But it'll need a bit of filing down to get the mushrooming off and sharpening. But yeah, a vintage Kent pattern hatchet. But that's by the by. Let's get on with this, putting this thing back together. First I'm going to need to wipe the bench here, because my roof's been leaking, or I think it's just condensation dripping off the skylights actually. I'll mop that up and reposition you, and then we'll see if we can get this back together again. Right, here we are, the bits we stuck together yesterday, so they've had overnight to cure, so they should be as solid as they're going to get. I'm not entirely convinced this is going to be enough to hold them together under combat conditions, but I have a follow-up plan which is a bit more industrial, but this way at least allows it to be dismantled again if need be. It looks like it might be slightly crooked actually, which is annoying since I Taped everything carefully in position. But we'll see how she goes. I'll try the sophisticated approach first, and then if this doesn't work, as I suspect it won't, I might do something like put some fiberglass matting around it. Right, I think we've got to trim a bit of glue here somewhere. This is not looking like it wants to go back together. Where is it catching? Oh yeah, glue in here. Right, scrape that out. Right, sticks two pieces of plastic together. Take two. I have so many files and none of them has a... Oh, right, let's go for the all-rounder. At least that's got a filing edge all the way across. Let's see if that's enough to make a difference. Still just catching there. Probably a bit on that side as well needing doing. Some of it might actually be that it's bent. It must have bent a bit before it broke. Either that or I've not glued it very straight, which is always a possibility. I should take it as a good sign that this glue's so awkward to get out of here. It suggests it's got some sticking power. Sticking power glue, do you see what I did there? That channel is definitely clean. Right, that'll have to do. Probably going to fall to bits anyway as soon as I put any kind of weight behind it. That'll be close enough, I would say. As I say, plan B is to put some fiberglass matting around it if this glue doesn't hold. So next challenge, let's see if we can remember where everything goes. I think now the battery went in from the back, so it must be the front. Would that be right? Battery went in, or did the battery go in from the front? Shit, I can't remember now. It might actually be that way around. No, I'm pretty sure the battery went in from the front. Should make that the back. Yeah, that's right. No, wait a minute. Switch. Switch would be on the front, you idiot boy. Right. Ignore me, I'm just thinking aloud here. If you can call it thinking. Well, back in you go. Right. So we have a battery doofler, which goes down here somewhere. That must go that way, so you can slide the battery in. And the switch goes here. Controller goes there, I presume. I may have to resort to going and looking at the footage from yesterday when I took it apart to see where everything goes. Oh, it's just a sole. Switch went in here somewhere. It might have gone that side of that. Where's the outer bit of the switch? That hinged on there. And then there's a spring must fit in here somewhere. So this wee bit, you go on there. That looks like a place you'd want to go. Then that on there. Oh yeah, that would do it. Right. Where's the other bit there? The safety guard thingy doofler. Where would that go in? Like that. Seem to be stopping the switch from pressing whenever I put it, so I'm presuming that might be wrong. Try it the other way. Oh, the spring's done something weird here. This is fun and for it's part of the fun of taking things apart is trying to remember how to put them back together again. That's definitely right for that. Just got to work out how this safety catch thing might have gone in. It's got a spring on here for some bizarre reason, which I can't quite fathom why. Oh yeah, it's to make it bounce back. Yeah, that must be right for there. But then what stops this flopping out? Answers on a postcard. Let's shove that over wee drop. I'm feeling quite confident about the rest of these bits, but I'm not feeling overly confident about having this switch in the right place. That cable must go down there. That looks right, that looks right. All of this looks right. The switch actually looks right, but there's nothing stopping this popping out here. Unless there's a screw holds it in when we put everything together. It's got a tiny wee lip on it there, but maybe that just catches just enough to hold it. Might do. But what I can't see is right, so that does hold there, and then yeah, that's right. Okay, I've got it. Nobody move now till we get this. Look at that bit's moved, you bugger, you. Go on, stay where you were. I need to prop it up with something here. Right. No, nobody move. Oh yes, shithead. Right. Oh, we may be together here. Oh, yeah. See, keep your big mouth shut, Spuzzbot. Right, I think we need these two screws round the switch to go in first. And of course I haven't even got my screwdriver within reach, which is another of my specialities. I get something prepped up with a screw where I've got to balance and hold it and then realise I haven't got my screwdriver near me. But I did actually manage to reach it. How's that on my screwdriver? A fly, get off. Shouldn't you be dead by now? Seems to be okay. Right, rest of screws. Where did I put my long bits? Thought that was him not wanting to go together properly there. Like a sneaky wire, it sneaked out sneakily. I think we're good. Right. This may be where things go pear-shaped when I tighten everything up and the flex goes out of this plastic. Doesn't look too bad on that side. Not too bad on that side. So, do we think this is going to stay together? I think these screws can actually go in a wee bit more. Maybe not. What am I on here? Max torque. No, they're all tight. They felt a bit like they mightn't be. Okay, did I bring a battery with me to test it? I did, because I'm a clever wee thing. Hooray, we're still working. Well, at least I haven't broken it, which is always a bonus. Although, as I keep saying, I'm not entirely convinced it's going to hold together very long, but we'll see. Let's repair to outside and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about this while we're here. Right, here I am out in the garden with the gadget. Unfortunately, we have no hedges, so I can't show you it in full action, but there's a few things I like about this, and there's a few things I don't like about it. Start with the good. Well, the good thing is that it does actually come in handy for, it extends up to, what's that, about 2 meters in length. And it's quite good if you're doing a hedge, as I do quite often, where it's in somebody's garden, so you can't really put a ladder up because it'll just sink into the soil. So it's quite handy for doing the top of hedges. And also, I actually find it quite good for if you've got a customer, or if yourself, you're very kind of pernickety about getting a straight line on a hedge. You can kind of use it almost like sighting down it like a rifle to get a straight edge. I find it easier sometimes than with the kind of normal length hedge trimmers. The top on it is adjustable for angles. Okay, so you can kind of do sides of hedges, like I say, aiming down it and using it as a long line, or you can fold it over and do tops of hedges and all angles in between. So, and I also thought one of the positive things about it before was the Makita build quality and all that, but as I found out, that ain't necessarily so with this. Now, the downsides. Downside number one is, even when you've got it at its shortest length, it's really kind of awkward and it's quite big to kind of carry about. Also, the head only folds at kind of right angles forward, and for some weird reason folds back a bit too. So it would be kind of more convenient if that could fold down flat, and that's probably to do with the way the wiring goes inside here. Also, the motor's at the top, so it can get quite top heavy, as you saw when I took it apart in the shed. In the bottom half you just got the battery for weight, but there's nothing in here, it's just the switch and the controller. The motor's up here, so when you've got it at full extension and you're kind of holding it out like that over a tall hedge, it can get quite kind of tiring on the shoulders. One of my biggest annoyances about this, and it's a kind of minor detail, but it is really irritating, apart from the fact that this won't fold down to make it smaller, so you've always got to kind of have it at a right angle like that, or aimed straight up. But this cover thing that came with it, which is obviously not going to do it now because I want it to do it, but it just falls off dead easily all the time. And so you've got this quite awkward size tool, and you're getting in and out of the van, and all the time the bloody end falls off this plastic thing here, and it's really annoying. And away, sorry, camera just lost track of me there. Right, that's it really. It was just kind of a quick and dirty review of what I like and don't like about it. I think I've covered everything. So I like the fact that spider just landed on my ear there. So I'll go round here. I like the fact that it saves having to bring ladders and things, and you can get quite a good reach on it. Don't like that it's a bit top heavy, so when you are using it at full extension, it does get tiring. Would be nicer if that could fold down, at least partially down, so that you didn't have this awkward either big L-shaped thing or longer straight up and down thing to carry about with you. And that, see, look, it's not doing it today. This always falls off every time I'm putting it in the van or getting it out of the van or carrying it. That bloody cover falls off. There we go. I was going to say today it's not going to do it because I want it to, but right, I don't know how much of that got bizarred out, but the camera went off pointing in a random direction. I was going to say the problem with this as well, what I was quite disappointed about when it snapped, is with a normal hedge trimmer you're here with a short handle, and if it catches on something or a branch gets stuck in it, you can kind of pull it out by hand, or you can give it a bit of a twizzle to release it. But this, obviously, when you're operating it at full length and it's caught on something up there, you can't reach it to undo it by hand, so all you can do is kind of twizzle it from down here and pull it, and this is when it snapped. It was caught on something at the top of a hedge, and I twizzled it and gave it a yank, and it just snapped in half here, which was a bit disappointing when I opened it up and we found that this metal bit only goes to here, the metal shaft for want of a better word. So obviously it's going to be prone to snapping just at the end of where that metal is, which is what happened. 2 screws into the metal bit, and then the rest of this is just kind of a plastic handle. And as I also said, a bit disappointing the quality of that plastic. I've got other Makita tools where the plastic's kind of, it's hard, but it's got a bit more flex to it, and you think it wouldn't break, it would just kind of bend and flex, whereas this is the kind of quite brittle plastic that obviously snaps. So that's it. One repair. No doubt there will be a further episode of this in about a week's time when I come back with it snapped again, because it didn't hold up being glued. But I thought I'll try this first, because if I do need to take it apart again, it's going to be easier having done it like this than if I, you know, put something round it, as plan B will be, and then I wouldn't be able to open it up again. So there you go. Cheers for watching. Bye. It's so bloody typical. I just put everything away and then remembered one more thing about this, which I find really annoying. I'll demonstrate upside down because of the length of the damn thing. The switch, as you saw when I was putting it together, it's like one of those switches off an electric drill where you've got to poke the wee button in there to free up the trigger, right? Gardening tool to be used outdoors while working with shrubs, hedges, whatever, thorns, sharp sticks, all that kind of thing. What are you going to be doing when working in a garden? You're going to be wearing gloves, aren't you? Anybody who works outside gardening, doing any kind of outdoor work, is going to be wearing gloves. When you've got gloves on, it's almost impossible to press that stupid wee button in to release the trigger on this. So when you're using it, not only are you kind of leaning out trying to balance with all the weight at the top, but when you want to turn it on, you got gloves on, you're going trying to find that stupid wee button to press in to release the trigger. And this is one of those tools, it's not like, I don't know, an angle grinder or a drill or something where you're like using it continually and then you put it down when you finish the job. With a hedge trimmer, you kind of cut a bit, stop, cut a bit, stop, cut a bit, because you're always kind of seeing your line and checking things and clearing bits out of the way. So you're doing this constantly, having to start and stop this, and each time it's like fiddle, 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 try and find the wee stupid button to release the trigger. So that is the other major annoyance about this. I can't remember. I can't believe I forgot to mention that one when I was out before. But yeah, that winds me up all the time. Does nobody at the factories or at the design team ever think, wait a minute, people might be wearing gloves when they're using this tool, so let's not make the trigger really fiddly. I found this, unfortunately, with I've got a few Makita tools, and some of them are really nice, big, kind of easy to grab hold of triggers. They've all got some kind of safety mechanism, because they always have to stop you cutting your head off by accident. But, you know, don't make it a fiddly wee thing like that when people are going to be wearing gloves using your tool. Bye again.